So what does a cringy conversation have in common with the laws of the universe and the real purpose of math? It sounds crazy, I know. But in this explainer, we're going to see how they are all connected by one powerful, hidden principle.
It all kicks off with a feeling I bet you know all too well. You know that moment you're sharing something you're excited about or something that's really bothering you, and you just get this vibe that the other person is just waiting for their turn to jump in. You're talking, sure, but are you actually being heard? Okay, here's the classic example. Let's say your friend is telling you about their incredible trip to Paris. And what's our first instinct? To say, oh, Paris, I've been there. I remember seeing the Eiffel Tower, and now it feels like you're connecting, right? But what you've really done is you've just grabbed the conversational spotlight and yanked it right back onto yourself.
So why do we do this? Are we all just bad at talking to each other? Well, it turns out the reason is way deeper than just bad manners. It actually goes right down into our brain chemistry.
This habit actually has a name. It's called conversation hijacking. And here's the kicker. It's not totally our fault. Neuroscientists have found that when we talk about ourselves, our brains get a little chemical reward, a little kick of pleasure. So, in a very real way, we're kind of addicted to self-expression.
And you can see the difference so clearly here. Imagine you're visiting a friend who's sick. The conversation hijacker's go-to move is, "Oh, I know exactly how you feel. I had that last year," and boom, it's about them now. But an effective listener? They do the total opposite. They keep the focus right where it belongs, asking things like, "Where does it hurt?" or "How are you feeling right now?" They're there to explore their friend's experience, not to replace it with their own.
Okay, so how do we fight this urge? It really boils down to this simple three-step mental checklist. First, know your purpose. Why are you even having this conversation? Most of the time, it's to feel connected to someone. Second, when you feel that urge to jump in or get defensive, just pause. Take a beat. And third, bring it back to your goal. Remind yourself that the whole point is the relationship, not scoring a point in some debate.
Now get ready because we are about to make a huge leap. What if this whole idea that the relationship is more important than the individual parts, what if that wasn't just good advice for a conversation? What if that was the fundamental rule for how the entire universe works?
This is the big, mind-bending idea that comes to us from modern physics, and it flips everything we think we know upside down. See, we usually assume that things exist first, and then they form relationships with each other. But what if that's backwards? What if the relationship itself is the real, fundamental thing, and what we call existence is just a shadow it casts?
To really get this, we have to talk about the one unbreakable, non-negotiable rule in our universe, the speed of light. That number, 300,000 kilometers per second, isn't just a number. It is the universe's most fundamental, unchangeable relationship. It's the fixed relationship between space and time.
And Einstein showed us exactly how this plays out. Think about it like this. 1. The universe has a rule that cannot be broken, the speed of light. That relationship has to be the same for everybody everywhere, no exceptions. 2. This leads to a really weird consequence. If the relationship can't change, then the things it connects, they have to be flexible. And 3, this creates the reality we live in. Space and time themselves have to literally stretch and shrink just to make sure that one core relationship is never, ever broken. The relationship is the boss. Existence just has to adapt.
So, if everything from our daily chats to the fabric of the cosmos is built on these foundational and often invisible relationships, how in the world are we supposed to make sense of them? What language do we even use for that?
This is where the last piece of our puzzle slots into place. We need a special language, one designed specifically to describe these connections that hold everything together.
And that language, believe it or not, is mathematics. Now, I'm not talking about the boring times tables you had to memorize in school. At its core, real mathematics is the science of patterns. And what is a pattern? It's just the visible expression of a relationship.
You can actually watch math evolve to do this. It started out super practical, as a science of quantity, counting sheep. Then it became a science of shape, with geometry. Then calculus made it a science of motion and change. But now it's become something way more powerful. It's the science of finding and describing the hidden rules, the patterns, behind literally everything. I mean, just look at how all these different branches of math fit the bill. Statistics is all about finding the patterns hidden in data. Probability? That describes the patterns of chance. Geometry deciphers the patterns of shape and form. And calculus, well, it models the patterns of change. They're all just different tools in the same toolbox, built for one job, finding the pattern.
All right, let's pull all these threads together. We've jumped from human connection to cosmic laws to the world of abstract ideas. And now we can finally see the hidden blueprint that ties them all together. Here's the big takeaway from all of this. Always look for the relationship first. In any conversation, remember that the real goal is the relationship you have with that person, not just waiting for your turn to talk. When you look out at the universe, remember that it's the fundamental relationships, like the speed of light, that actually define reality. And when you're trying to learn anything, the goal isn't just to gather a bunch of facts, it's to find the pattern, the relationship, that connects all those facts into something that makes sense.
This is a huge shift in thinking, from looking at things to looking at the relationships between things. It's an incredibly powerful lens. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. What hidden patterns and unseen relationships are quietly shaping your world right now?